Taggart, who has stepped aside as leader of opposition in Parliament,
Okay.
that I could have that opportunity to gain the experience of being leader of the opposition in the Parliament, and he has publicly nominated me, or endorsed me, I should say, and will nominate me in the upcoming General Conference as leader of the party. So he continues to hold that role as leader of the party until it's voted on at the General Conference in January.
That is good, because one of the WhatsApp message that I received, the person says, "Why has Roy McTaggart stepped out of the spotlight?" So you've spoken to that, and I'll just mention this at the same time so that if we have enough time to cover it. Person says, "Can he say some of the ways he feels that he can be implemented to reduce the cost of living? Also, how does he plan to reduce the cost of operating the government as well?" If we get an opportunity, so about that.
So again, Mr. McTaggart announced at our General Council meeting a couple months ago that he would be stepping aside as the leader of the opposition in the Parliament to give me an opportunity to gain that experience, and that he would not be contesting the seat of leader of the party in the coming conference, and would be throwing his support behind myself. That would mean that someone else can't be nominated,
Right.
contest for the leader of the party as well. So just make that clear. So therefore, when we get to that point, I will then become the fourth leader of the PPM. And that is important because it shows that we have the ability to evolve and we have continuity in the party. So you had Honorable Kurt Tibbetts, who was the first leader of the party. He passed on to Sir Alden, who did that. Honorable Kurt Tibbetts stayed in for one more term. Sir Alden then passed it on to Mr. Roy Taggart and stayed on for one more term. And Mr. Taggart now hopes to pass it on to myself, and he is committed to stay on another term to port. So you have that continuity within the party and within the government or the Parliament, whichever where we fall.
And the Americans would call it peaceful transfer.
Peaceful transfer. Peaceful transfer of power, yes. So as we evolve, I use the word evolved earlier, and we have evolved over the years. The PPM was a grassroots movement. We have evolved over the years. Now we're going into another segment, and that segment, as we have changed as a country, and whilst you hear me speak a lot about getting younger people involved, and there's a lot of focus on that, we have not forgotten about our grassroots and our elderly. They are the core of the party. But what we have to do is we have to broaden our base. We have to make sure that everybody's included. We have to have a much more inclusive foundation to the party. And it is my goal to get people more involved in the non-elected side of the party, because there is where our policies and our ideologies should be driven. It is your base that should drive those policies for you. They are your people on the street. They are representing all the different sectors, whether you're young, you're old, whether you're rich or you're poor, it doesn't matter. You should be a part of the movement and have the ability to help shape policy going forward. When we win the government, that is when it is important to continue to include the non-elected arm of the party, to set up committees within the party to be able to give feedback to the government as to what our people are saying on the streets, what are the issues affecting our people, so that, because we often get caught up as a government where you're sitting in meetings all week long, you're surrounded by technocrats, you're protected by your personal assistants and everyone else, and you're focused and you're into the issues of the day within the country. That is where the party, the non-elected arm of the party, is important. That we have those committees out there, that we have our district committees that can come back and provide us with feedback, that can come and make representation to our caucus, that this is what's happening out there, this is how people feel. We agree with the direction we're going, we disagree with the direction we're going. It is also my goal to set up, hopefully beforehand, but if not, after, a youth caucus. And that if that evolves into a youth arm of the party, but I want to have a youth caucus, a group of young people, 18 to 25, that they meet on a regular basis, and they start to discuss what sort of policies they want to see driven, and have them also report to the government caucus. So my intention as a leader and my goal as a leader is to completely broaden, as you talk about the big tent, to broaden the scope of the party, to be much more inclusive, to focus on the individual groups equally, so that we don't find ourselves just focusing in one group, but holistically focusing on everyone and being inclusive to everyone. And it is with that strength that we will ensure the continuity of the party for another 24 years to come. It is with that we will ensure that the country is represented by its people, and that the government is people driven, along as this in particular election, we are focusing very much on the data. And so we will be data driven as well as people driven. And that is the success that I see for the country and for the party in the future.
And of course, one of those data points that we have is the rapid increase in the population, of the Cayman Islands, which has then impacted so many things, including what you spoke about in the traffic situation, the need for public transport and everything else. So that increase in population
and quality. People we tend to sometimes, we tend to make things much more complicated than they are. And I keep talking about the quality. From even when I was as a minister, I spoke about the quality of life of our people. Driving a lot of things that may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but it affects your quality of life, your daily quality of life. If that is less time in traffic, if that is having reliable transportation,